Words have consequences. Bodies, blood, graves. Yet a sitting governor just gave his party permission to bully the S out of a former president. Not debate, not defeat, bully. I thought aren't they against bullying? In a nation where political violence already claims lives, where assassins already have pulled the trigger, where blood already stained the baseball fields, he chose that word carefully and deliberately, with full knowledge of what happens next. Because here's what they won't admit. This isn't rhetoric anymore. This is recruitment. This is a dog whistle so loud that even the deaf can hear it. And when the next unstable leftist loads a weapon, when the next mob forms, when the next assassination attempt comes, remember who gave them permission. Tim Walz. Now, when lawlessness becomes policy and your children witness the destruction of American values, you need truth on your side. That's why the Tuttle twins created Liberty First content for kids. Their monthly magazine teaches economics, liberty, and responsibility through comics, activities, and real-world lessons. While schools indoctrinate, Tuttle twins educate. Freedom is never more than one generation from extinction. This is why people are flocking here. Now, don't let your child fall victim to woke propaganda. Subscribe for just $56 per year. TuttleTwins.com/next. Teach them to think, not what to think. Because the battle for America's future starts in your child, in their mind, today. Melissa Hortman, sacrificed on the altar of leftist degeneracy, violently gunned down inside of her home. Her husband gunned down. Her dog, Gilbert, gunned down. Her children left orphans. We're going to watch some footage of some of her last moments. You can tell that she was scared. The look on her face is telling. She knew that by breaking ranks and voting with Republicans that she was in mortal danger. Look at her face. Check out this clip.
After last Monday's special session, Representative Melissa Hortman held a press conference outside House chambers to celebrate finishing the budget.
I think that there's a lot for Minnesotans to be pleased about.
Inside, Speaker Lisa Dameth prepared her own remarks for the media before making one last stop to say hello to Hortman.
I was going out to talk to all of you, and I turned back. I said, we did it. And she said words to the effect of, I like it so much better when we get along rather than when we fight, but we did it.
It was their last conversation.
The events and the tragedy, my heart is with the Hortman family and colleagues and friends.
In Hortman's final months, Dameth spent countless hours with the House DFL leader, negotiating the state budget under a 67-67 tie in the House.
We had more in common than the things that we disagreed on.
After Hortman directed the DFL to skip the first 3 weeks of the session,
if there's no power sharing agreement, we will not be here.
She reached a deal with Republicans that gave Dameth the title of Speaker, while Hortman led her caucus as Speaker Emerita.
I think it showed humility on her part. Although I am the Speaker, we co-led this chamber.
Needing bipartisan support on all bills to break the tie in the House, the two leaders met weekly, just as they had for the past 2 years, when the DFL had a majority in the House.
She cared about Minnesota, probably more than anyone that I've ever met, and wanted to do what she felt was best for Minnesota.
During budget negotiations, Dameth and Hortman held joint press conferences and used humor to deflect questions about how much they trusted each other.
That is a weird question. Good. We haven't done any trust falls lately.
No.
So.
How much do you think
Trust
we
us.
trust each other and trust us?
Portman kept her colleagues laughing throughout these tough and sometimes uncomfortable budget talks.
Maybe the word I should have used is colonoscopy. So maybe just proctological exam.
Just one of many things Lisa Dameth will remember about her friend.
Her ability to lead people and to do the right thing, her transparency, and not even desire for personal gain, but just to do the right thing.
She seems like an absolutely fine woman. And, you know, whether you have a D in front of your name or an R in front of your name, what matters the most is that you have integrity. Unfortunately, most of the Democratic Party doesn't, you know, they're not going to follow suit. And especially right now at this point, they're not going to at this point, because they're going to know that even if they wanted to, they could lose their lives. They could, you know, the lives of their loved ones could be utterly lost just for simply voting yes on something or voting no on something, the right thing or the wrong thing, just for voting your conscience. You know, Governor Tim Walz crossed the Rubicon here. You know, at the South Carolina Democratic Convention this week, this weak man playing tough guy, you know, told Democrats that it's time to bully the S out of Trump. Not defeat, not outwork, bully. You know, is that advice you give to your children when they go to their first day of kindergarten? To bully other kids? You know, the word choice matters. What we say matters. Now watch this spineless politician pump his fists and give permission for political violence while pretending that it's just another passionate speech. Let's watch.
Called out on this because I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is. It's because he is. Oh, the governor's being mean and the governor's speaking out on that. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. Because we have to ferociously push back on this. And again, I'll speak to my teacher colleagues in here. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the shit out of him back. You push back. You make sure they know it's not there.
What a putz. How about we ferociously put you in handcuffs, Mr. Tim Walz? Get meaner. I mean, get meaner. That's how you speak about America's enemies, like people who want to obliterate us from the map. That's not how you talk about your fellow citizen. You know, this is from the governor whose state just witnessed a political assassination. The timing isn't coincidental. This is calculated. It's a dog whistle. That is a narcissistic tactic. Narcissistic abuse tactic. Dog whistle. Designed for maximum damage. You know, the left masters plausible deniability. They say bully, but what they really mean is attack. They say fight, but really what they mean is kill. And then when violence erupts, they clutch their pearls and claim it was just a metaphor. We're just exercising our free speech. We've seen this playbook before. And look at their rhetoric escalate. This montage shows exactly how Democrats normalize violence through repetition and intensity. Let's take a look.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful. Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
This way.
They're really going to clutch their pearls right now. Hitler, dictator, threat to democracy, existential danger. You know, when you convince somebody that someone is literally Hitler, you know, what's the moral response? Assassination becomes virtuous. This isn't theoretical. Steve Scalise nearly died when a Bernie bro decided that Republicans were killing people with health care policy. Brett Kavanaugh had an armed assassin at his door over abortion. Wrap your head around that for a minute. Brett Kavanaugh was almost killed because he voted to not kill babies. Political violence follows political rhetoric as surely as thunder follows lightning. And this is straightforward psychology. Follow me here. First, here's this is how it happens. First, dehumanize the opposition. Trump is Hitler. His supporters are Nazis. Then, declare an existential threat. Democracy will die. People will suffer. And third, as we've seen, give permission. Get meaner. Bully them. Fight back. Stop them where they stand. Stop them at the gas station. Behead Donald Trump in effigy. And then act surprised when someone interprets that as literal permission. This is common leftist tactics. This is common socialist communist tactics. And Walz knows that. Every Democrat knows that. They've watched it unfold repeatedly. Yet here he stands, pumping his fists, calling for Democrats to bully their opponents after a political murder in his own state? That's not passion. That's pathology. Now let's decode the dog whistle for a second. When Democrats say law and order, Republicans hear racism. When Republicans say secure the border, the Democrats hear xenophobia. Really? Xenophobia? You're scared of foreigners? A phobia is an irrational fear. Are we scared of foreigners? I don't think we're scared. We just have to have rules. You lock the door at night. You lock the door at night. You close the window. You protect your kids. You have a nanny cam. Are we scared of our neighbors? No, we're not scared of our neighbors. We're just smart. But when a Democrat governor says, bully the S out of a president who has already survived 2 assassination attempts, what exactly are we supposed to hear? You know, the media plays along. You know, they're going to parse out every syllable that Trump utters on Truth Social, on X looking for dog whistles that don't actually exist, looking for reasons to kill him. But then they ignore all the dog whistles on their own side. They demand that Republicans denounce rhetoric. And we have to outright say, we have to stand up and we say, why haven't you denounced what so-and-so said, or so-and-so said something? But Democrats are explicitly calling for violence. Get meaner, get fiercer, start bullying them. The double standard isn't just glaring, it's lethal. And these people have the gall to call us the instigators of this. You know, Trump says fight for your country, and the media screams about violence, you know? Generic, it could mean anything, right? But Walz, he's specific. He is. He literally said, bully them, get meaner. Targeted at one man who has already had a target on his back. This is not a metaphor. These are marching orders against our duly elected president. The permission structure is building daily. We've seen this from Acosta. You know, Trump is Hitler. You know, so violence against him isn't wrong, right? Because if Trump is really Hitler, right? I mean, who could argue with that, right? It's resistance. It's a protest. His supporters are fascist. So attacking them isn't assault. You know, remember Punch a Nazi? I'm old enough to remember Punch a Nazi. Remember that? Hashtag Punch a Nazi? Where it's literally okay. If someone is wearing a red hat, you can literally just go up to them and punch them because you're fighting fascism. You know, every institution that Democrats control broadcasts this message. The media, academia, entertainment, Hollywood, and now our elected officials, governors, mayors. You know, history shows where this leads. And it's not to some abstract endpoint, but to very, very real, visceral violence. The Weather Underground didn't spontaneously combust, okay? They were radicalized by rhetoric, by pamphlets that made that kind of violence by sending Molotov cocktails and explosives into buildings. They made that seem moral. I'm not sure how you get from that to like rushing into an Apple store and stealing like an Apple iPhone where they can track you. Like, I don't know. The Red Army faction didn't emerge from nowhere. They emerged from words that made murder seem absolutely justified. And modern Democrats play the same game, just with updated rules, with a little bit more social justice, with a little bit more of a social justice stink on it. You know, they don't explicitly call for violence, even though they sort of do. You know, that would be a little too traceable. But it doesn't matter with our mainstream media. You can literally explicitly call for violence, and they're like the media will memory hole it in a couple days. And we're sitting here now we're supposed to obsess about January 6th. That they won't forget about, even though the only person who died was a Trump supporter. You know, instead they create these conditions where violence becomes inevitable. They light matches while standing in gasoline and then act shocked when there's a conflagration. You know, Walz epitomizes this cowardice. He knows exactly what bully the S out of whoever means to one of his mentally deranged, unhinged supporters. You know, I think the people at the top tier of this, I think they know that that their worldview lends itself to mentally unstable, narcissistic cluster B people who are just ready to go out there and hurt people, who take joy in it, like sadistic joy in it. And Walz is a Machiavellian. He knows how to make this thing happen. He knows that one step leads to the next. He knows exactly what get meaner, get fiercer, bully the S out of him. He knows what that means. He knows what it sounds like to somebody who's already on the edge. And he also knows that he can retreat behind plausible deniability. I meant politically. I meant be fiercer at the voting booth. No. That's what he'll try to say after the blood is dried and the mainstream media has memory hold these murders. But the escalation continues from resistance to by any means necessary to bully the S out of them. Like each step carefully calculated to increase the pressure while maintaining deniability. Each phrase chosen to inspire action while avoiding accountability. Real leaders de-escalate. You think Trump wants people to die? I don't think so. Do you? Leave us a comment in the chat. I really don't think so. Does Trump want people to die, or is he trying to save lives or end lives? See, real leaders choose words that incite, that unite, rather than incite. Real leaders understand that that every nation is a tinderbox, and that what you say matters. Walz is no leader. He's an arsonist with a gubernatorial seal. Now, Republicans who use heated language get investigated. They get impeached. They get imprisoned. And Democrats who explicitly call for bullying get applauded by our mainstream media. The system protects those who serve it while destroying those who challenge it. Political violence flows in one direction because the permission flows in one direction. But when violence comes, and it will come, I want you to remember this moment. Remember who is actually giving the permission to commit these crimes. Remember who said, get meaner, get fiercer, bully the stuff out of them. When the assassination attempts start happening, remember who brought it on. Remember who said bully when bullets have already flown. Remember who turned dog whistles into foghorns when the bodies start piling up. Now, if you got value from this report, please tap subscribe. Leave us a comment in the chat. My final thought is next. Now, this is how republics die. Not with armies, but with words. When governors give permission to bully political opponents, they're writing checks that lunatics cash in blood. Now, Walz knows this because he is a lunatic himself. Every Democrat leader knows this. They've watched this pattern. Rhetoric becomes rage. Rage becomes violence. Violence becomes normalized. We know this from Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. I actually read a great book called Rules for Defeating Radicals by my good friend Chris Adamo. It's absolutely incredible because this is a playbook that has been, they're using a playbook that was written. You ever heard of the Little Red Book? Go look it up. The Little Red Book. This is what Antifa and the radicals, they try to use to escalate violence and to make it seem, and it's right in there. Projection, it's right in there. Accuse them of what you're doing. Yet they keep escalating because they think they're immune from consequences. They're wrong. History judges harshly on those who incite mob violence for political gain. When the next attack comes, and mark my words, right now, it will. The blood won't just be on the attacker's hands. It'll be on the hands of every politician who said, get meaner. Get meaner. Stop them at the gas station. All the Pelosi's, the Maxine Waters, the Joe Bidens, take him out by the back and beat him up. I'll punch him in the face by the gym. Obama, yeah, he was pretty bad too. Every media pundit who called Trump Hitler. What's that C-list actress's name who held Trump's head in effigy? Griffin. Everyone who fantasized about his assassination by the almighty, by the sweet, beautiful, almighty hand of God. Trump survived the most, he survived a gunshot to the head for all the world to see, and he still had the strength to say, fight, fight, fight. Liberals are creating a permission structure for murder while maintaining this plausible deniability, but I don't give them that. I don't give them plausible deniability. I see where it's at. So here's my question. Should politicians who incite violence be held criminally liable when attacks occur? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat below, please. And I want you to stand against political violence by checking out our merch shop linked in the description. We've got tons of stuff, and we're going to get cooking. We got tons of stuff there. Check out the link below.